So, a hair tool pops up on TikTok. Some influencer calls it life changing, and then suddenly, it is absolutely everywhere. We've all seen it happen. But the real question is, when a hair tool goes viral, is it because it actually works wonders or is it just fantastic marketing? Well, let's strip away the hype and dive into what the lab tests really revealed.
Oh, you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. They're all over your social media feeds, they're sitting right at the top of your Amazon searches, and it seems like a dozen different brands have all released their own version overnight. And they all promise perfect hair with just one easy purchase. But this is where we hit that classic performance gap. I mean, popularity is not the same thing as performance, right? So the research team over at hairbrushY.com decided to take these viral tools into the lab to figure out what actually holds up once you take away all that hype. So, we're going to kick things off with the tools that promise the world, but according to the lab, either don't work at all, or they only really work for very specific people in very specific situations. Okay, first on the chopping block is a tool that's been getting a ton of attention for being eco-friendly and all natural. But the lab's official verdict, well, it was pretty straightforward. What's so fascinating here is the simple comparison. The marketing says bamboo brushes are this revolutionary, super gentle experience. But the lab reality? Those wide pins are basically just trying to be your fingers. Think about it. When your hair is wet, your fingers can feel resistance instantly and adjust the pressure. A brush just can't do that. The main takeaway here is that you already own the best version of this tool, and it's free. All right, next up, those little silicone brushes you see people using in the shower all the time. The big promise is a deeper clean and better scalp circulation. Now, the lab didn't say they're bad, just that they're, situational. And this really shows why. For a lot of people, especially if you have longer hair, those little silicone tips can actually drag and pull strands together, which creates tiny knots while you're just trying to wash your hair. Again, your fingers give you way more control. They spread shampoo perfectly, and they can get to every part of your scalp without any risk of tangling. So yeah, they can be helpful for short hair, but they're definitely not a must-have for everyone. Now, here's a tool that's been around for like a century, but it's having a massive comeback online. It's often talked about like it's some miracle cure for getting super shiny, healthy hair. This is so important to understand. A boar bristle brush is amazing at spreading your scalp's natural oils down your hair. That's what gives you that smoothness and shine. But, and this is a big but, it is a finishing tool. The bristles are so dense they just can't get through thick or curly hair to actually detangle it. If you try, you're just going to get frustrated. So what's the right way? Detangle first, then use the boar bristle brush to finish and add shine. You've definitely seen these electric brushes. They're marketed as this totally safe alternative to a flat iron. That phrase, damage-free, gets thrown around a lot. Let's just be crystal clear. Damage-free is a marketing term. It is still a heat tool. The difference is that it uses dispersed heat instead of that super concentrated heat from a flat iron. So yeah, it can be a better option. But if you're blasting it on high every single day without a heat protectant, you are still causing damage. You've got to treat it with the same respect as any other hot tool. Okay, so we've covered the overhyped and the situational. Now let's get to the two tools that really stood out during testing, but for very, very different reasons. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? After we've debunked all this hype, is there anything the lab found that is genuinely a must-have? Well, the answer, maybe surprisingly, is yes. And here it is, the simple, humble, mini travel detangler. According to the lab, this little guy is one of the most practical trends out there because it solves a real everyday problem. Throughout the day, friction from your jacket, the wind, a backpack, it creates these tiny little tangles. This tool lets you do a quick fix before those small knots turn into a huge breakage-causing mess. The key, though, is that the bristles have to be flexible. All right, now on the complete other end of the spectrum, we've got a massive trend that comes with a pretty serious warning from the HairBrushy team, the heatless curler. This is the hidden danger of heatless styling. You think you're doing your hair a favor because, hey, no heat. But wrapping your hair way too tightly around one of those rods creates a ton of tension on the hair follicles. You're basically just swapping heat stress for mechanical stress. And that also leads to breakage. The key is to think gentle shaping, not tight compression. So after digging into all of that, let's just pull back for a second and look at the big picture with a simple scorecard. And there you have it, all laid out nice and simple. You can see the bamboo brush is overhyped because it's just trying to be your fingers, while the travel detangler is essential for stopping daily breakage in its tracks.
This chart is just a fantastic way to quickly see the lab reality behind all that marketing hype. And this brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from this whole investigation. The real secret to great hair, it isn't something you can just buy in a box. The team at HairBrushy found that the tools that genuinely work, the ones that are still around years from now, they all share three fundamental things. They call them the 3 pillars of efficacy. And this is basically the framework you can use to judge any hair tool, whether it's viral or not.
Okay, so number 1, does it reduce friction? Simple as that. Does it separate strands cleanly without snagging? Number 2, does it match your hair texture? A brush for fine hair is not the same as a brush for dense, curly hair. And number 3, does it require patience? Good tools encourage you to be gentle, to style progressively, not to force some crazy immediate result. If a tool checks those 3 boxes, chances are it's a winner.
And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to this simple truth from the team at HairBrushy. It's not about finding that one miracle product. It's about consistency, it's about good technique, and it's about using tools that are actually right for your hair. So the next time one of those life-changing hair tools pops up on your feed, you'll know exactly what to look for beyond the flashy marketing. And it leaves you with a question. Looking at the tools you already own, which one will you be rethinking?